And we welcome you back to the Texas A&M San Antonio halftime report. It's the Taylor Ducks 7, the Somerset Bulldogs 7. Right now we just spoke to the superintendent of schools for the Somerset ISD, Dr. Saul Hinojosa. He was interviewed conducted by, of course, our coach Robert Villafranca. And now we're with Reagan Rail. He's with the Taylor Press. And Taylor, Reagan, welcome to the show.
Nice to be able to get on the air. Usually I'm stuck up here in the press box writing stories and rushing out onto the field, but it's nice to get on the airwaves a little bit.
All right, yeah. So talk about writing stories. You've covered Taylor for quite a bit. Talk to us. Tell us a little bit about, tell the Somerset listeners, who are the Taylor Ducks?
Yeah, no, this is my second year covering Taylor, and Taylor, honestly, they're the very antithesis of Somerset. Obviously, Somerset's a very possessive team. They want to establish the run. Taylor, spread offense, get the receivers out there, bunch of fast, shifty guys. Somerset, a lot of big, strong guys. So, contrasting styles, but Taylor has really hit their stride once they hit district play this year. They had some trouble with some of the slot T teams. Belleville they rung their bells pretty good. Lost by about 30 points.
41-14 was the score there.
Yeah, that was rough. But they like I said, they hit their stride during district play. Picked up a huge win against Bernie. Picked up another huge win against Canyon Lake. They were down 16 at halftime in that game, and came back 50-44, won district play. So second half team for sure.
Second half team is what you're saying. Okay, so
yeah.
I was just going to ask you on your thoughts on the first half for the Taylor Ducks. I mean, you look at the first couple of possessions, couple of 3-and-outs, punt. Somerset, they defensively played pretty well, but
right.
We were able to get a sneak peek of Jarrell Credington there with that big run for a touchdown.
Yeah, he only needs one little window, and he can shimmy on through and take it all the way to the house. And, Taylor, it's low scoring here, but it was last week against Burnett. Taylor was up 7-6 at halftime and then scored 35 points in the second half.
Yeah, that final score 42-6. So all that was in the second half.
Yeah, like I think you mentioned it in the first half broadcast that Taylor only got like 6 offensive plays in the first quarter, but they don't need that many touches. They can score a touchdown on one play and go 80 yards. So it'll be interesting to see if Somerset can maintain stamina and keep locking them down in the second half, but looking forward to it.
Talk a little bit about some of the other athletes on this team. I just going through, doing a little bit of research in some of the teams. Look at last week's game, most importantly. Malik Jackson and as well as the quarterback Ryan Gardner. Talk about them. Talk about what they've done this season so far.
Yeah, Malik, obviously it's rare that he gets single coverage because everyone knows he's, 6'3", 6'4", committed to Tulsa. He likes to take the top off the defense, but when he does get open, like you saw last week against Burnett, like 50 yards per catch, he's a big impact player, a big deep threat. And Gardner, he's a first-year starter, a junior, but he's hit district play, really hit his stride, and in that Canyon Lake game, in the final game of the season, scored 7 total touchdowns and was actually named a Ford Built Tough Player of the Week for Class 4A.
Wow, so we're definitely in for a second half here. And just like Taylor, they also, Somerset, had a good second half last week against the Kingsville King Brahmas. They really started off slow against the Brahmas that game. It was late in the second quarter. They got some movement going on, and then after that, it was just all Somerset from there. So, Reagan, I want to thank you for joining us on our halftime show.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
No problem. If you want to stick around, maybe you can join us for the post game if you're still going to be here. But
yeah.
We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get ready for the second half of play. You're listening to High School Football on the Texas Sports Radio Network.